plagued by reboots, haunted by sequels, dominated by the same old shit. Get ready for an original podcast that will gouge out your eyeballs and skull fuck you. Starring Ginger Josh, Adam the Hare, and introducing the immortal Frank. Hold on to your butts. It's the Game Rage Movies TV Podcast. Yeah, welcome back everybody to a new episode of Game Rage Movies and TV. My name is Josh. I'm here today with good buddy Adam.
Yeah,
that. And today we're going to talk. We're starting a new series, and that's The Penguin.
Fuck yeah, dude.
On HBO Max. And
as you can tell, I'm already enthusiastic about it.
Listen, I've already watched the first 2 episodes. It's fucking amazing. We're going to be doing this on a weekly basis, obviously, and we're a little behind. We're slightly behind the release schedule, but whatever. We're just going to do these weekly. Hell, we might even do 2 a week, depending on if we fucking really, really enjoy this, which so far I think maybe we might, because this is fucking great. But anyways, before we get into it, Penguin Episode 1 on HBO Max. Go to Game Rage Magazine. YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, Game Rage Magazine. Twitter/X, Game Rage Mag. You can follow Adam at All Gas No Trash Official. And you can follow Frank at Anime_Syndicate Podcast on Instagram. All right. So this, I thought this was really fucking cool the way they set this whole thing up. This literally happens like a week after the shit that happens in the Batman movie.
Yeah, the latest with the Matt Reeves or whatever the director's name is.
Yeah, with Robert Pattinson as Batman, and you see they kind of give you like these flashes of the thing happening, of the shit from the movie, the Riddler, fucking, blowing up the fucking dams or levees or whatever the fuck they are, and flooding the city. And this is like kind of the aftermath of that.
Yeah, this is sweet, dude, because like Penguin, he's like a very proud New Yorker, or for him, it's a very proud Gothamite. He's like, fuck man, look what this motherfucker did, like this dickhead Riddler fella. And then I don't know at what point it happens, but he passes by a QAnon like Riddler fucking haver. He's like, fuck off. Like, fuck these guys, dude.
Yeah, he's like, fuck these guys. Like, it's in the subway or something when they're going to see his mom, I think. And he tells them like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, he's like, you want to know the truth about Gotham and all this shit. You follow this QR code. Fuck off.
Yeah, he's like, fuck off, man. And that's what's kind of cool about this whole like series is like, yeah, Gotham is essentially like New York City, right? And it's like the DC universe equivalent, I guess. And it's fucking like, people are fucking proud to be there, man. Like, it's kind of like how it is in real life, They love being fucking New Yorkers or whatever. They love being Gothamites. Even though the city is a literal cesspool of fucking crime and super villainry, they don't give a fuck. They love their city, man. So we get that happening, and essentially we show, Oswald Cobb, who is the Penguin, otherwise known, he's referred to in this series a lot as Oz. He's in the club that he runs, the Iceberg Lounge, all right? And it's kind of interesting to see the dichotomy between the Penguin or Oswald Cobb and his bosses or his superiors, I guess, because they said Alberto Falcone, Carmine Falcone's son, who's now in charge of the mob.
Yeah, Carmine Falcone just passed away.
Yeah.
Because of the Riddler shit.
Right. He was killed basically by the Riddler shit, and Alberto Falcone has to now take over the crime family. He was like the next in line. So he's kind of like telling him, like, because he catches him, he's stealing a bunch of shit out of one of the like safes or whatever in the Iceberg Lounge.
Yeah,
taking a bunch of shit.
He takes photos of Alberto Falcone fucking or doing some shady shit, which he has photographs of, and he's keeping away in a vault, as we come to find out later.
Yeah. And so, Alberto's basically saying like, "Oh man, we're gonna revolutionize the drug business with this new drug I got. And it's like this top secret shit." And he tells him this story. Oswald, or the Penguin, tells him this fucking story about a guy. I forget what his name is, but he was like a guy who was like a mobster back in the day in his neighborhood, and he was like, "Man, this dude was beloved by all." Yeah, he was a mobster, like he was a gangster, but like he was a benevolent gangster, and everybody loved him. Like he did what he did for like the citizens, right? It was like, fuck the government, fuck the police, but hey, the people that live here, this is why I'm committing crime and doing these things, and I'm making sure they're gonna be safe. He was so beloved that when he died, they threw him a fucking parade. And he was just saying, like, man, I'd love to be like that one day. And
well,
like,
he doesn't say that. Alberto Falcone
says, what, you want to
jumps
be
to
that?
conclusion.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you want that. And I don't think Penguin, or I don't think Oswald was actually trying to say that for himself. I don't know. It was a bit of a Freudian slip, but I think that's what he was trying to allude to. Alberto could be that.
Right, yeah.
But then he interpreted it. He is it inferred?
Yeah, inferred, I guess.
He inferred that
It was him that wanted to be it.
it
was Alberto, or
Alberto to Oswald.
and so basically he makes fun of him, and that just pisses him off. So in legit Penguin fashion, being truly unhinged, he just kills this dude because he's fucking making fun of him. And this guy is now the dude who's in charge of the crime family that you work for, and you just murder his ass. So now he's like, fuck, like what the fuck do I gotta do? So he does what he does. He's a mover and a shaker. Like, dude, I think like we can relate to the Penguin more than fucking any other like person, I guess, or supervillain, because man, he gets shit done. He does the work, man. He doesn't give a fuck. He does what needs to be done, and he gets it done, right? So he does what he does. He fucking packs the body up. He fucking takes the dude's phone, and he fucking uses the face imaging to unlock it. Fucking goes in, finds out this thing about the new shipment for this new drug that he was talking about, what date it's gonna be on, and now he knows. He's like, cool. And then he cracks the phone, tosses it in there with him, takes the body, goes out into his fucking purple Maserati. I'm sorry,
Violet.
Plum. It's Plum.
Oh, right.
It's Plum Maserati, and he fucking throws it in the trunk, or he's gonna go throw it in the trunk. And there's these asshole bunch of kids out there, and they're fucking trying to steal his rims or something. And so he gets pissed. In true gangster fashion, he pulls out his gun and he fucking starts shooting at them. And he shoots his trunk. One of the kids trips up and falls, and he grabs him. He's like, "You son of a bitch!" And it's his name's Victor. And he says, "Listen, man." He's like, "Today's your lucky fucking day." He's like, "You're gonna fucking help me. I got a job for you, basically." And so he takes him, and he says, "You're gonna help me do this." And he fucking takes him. He fucking helps him put the body in the trunk. He's like, "You wanted this car so bad here," and he fucking tosses it to him. He's like, "You drive." And he drives them all around. They go around, and
They stop and get, they're talking about Slurpees because they're talking about like
Yeah.
a part of the neighborhood. He's like, man, I used to go to this fucking place and get Slurpees, and we used to do suicides. I'm like, man, that's funny as fuck. They're talking about suicides and
dude,
shit.
that's what we used to do, man. We
Yeah.
all used to do that, and that's what's crazy. Like to make that callback for, I don't know what year this is supposed to take place in, like the canon or whatever, but I mean, like essentially, the Penguin is like our age in this thing. He's like in his late 30s, maybe early 40s, and to make that callback of, oh yeah, me and my brothers, we used to go and we used to do the suicide thing, like, you know, we'd take all the flavors and we'd mix them together. That was fucking awesome. I was like, holy shit, I can relate to that. I used to do that. We used to do that with sodas. We used to do that, of course, with the
Everything.
fucking ices, the Slurpees, everything. You used to do that. And yeah, granted, I don't know why, long scheme, if we did that now, I'm sure it would taste like nothing. But man, it seemed to taste better. It's always, like, he was right. It just tasted better. Maybe we should do that in honor of the Penguin next episode. We should go to fucking 7-Eleven and do a suicide Slurpee and just fucking see what it is.
Yeah. So on the way there, and they end up at the car impound thing.
That's right, yeah, the crush yard or whatever, right?
Yeah, and Penguin just was using this guy So it's easier to have this body thrown into the trunk of some old car, and then he crush it, and then I think he tells him to get in because he's gonna kill him.
Yeah.
And then this guy makes his own case about, well, he's like, I'll do whatever the fuck you want. I'll prove that I'm worthy of being your subordinate or whatever. He's like, all right. He's like, you're fucking in. And then they go back to his crib where he sleeps, or
Yeah.
and he gives
Like his
him a
apartment or
car.
whatever.
And then you think he gives him a car?
Yeah, something like that. But then they end up going to talk to like his, I don't know if it's like his girlfriend or like this hooker that he's like seeing or whatever,
Oh, right, because he needs an alibi.
of where he was at, like during this time period.
Cover, yeah.
So that he's not like, they'll kill him or whatever.
Right. And then he visits his mom, gets jewelry from that vault that was in the Iceberg Lounge, and then gives that necklace to.
Fucking what's his name? Alberto gives it to him as a gift before he kills him, and then he gives it to his mom.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Hey, like I gotta fucking we're gonna need to leave town. Like we're gonna need to get out of here." And she kind of like, his mom is an asshole. Like she basically kind of tells him like, "Oh, I didn't know my son was a little bitch. Like, oh, you're just gonna leave? What did you do?" And he's like, so he tells her like, or does he tell?
Yeah, he does.
He does. He tells her, "Oh, I killed fucking Alberto Falcone," and she's like, "Why'd you kill him?" And he's like, "Because he made fun of me." And she's like, "Yeah, that's right. You ain't no little bitch though." She's like, "You're gonna fucking stay here and you're gonna fucking take that shit over. Like, no one's gonna fucking tell my son shit."
Yeah, and then on top of that, she's like, She basically says like he's master of his own destiny and that he could be more if he wants to be. And this is like kind of planting that seed in his head that he needs to do better in order for him to become potentially the crime lord of Gotham.
Yeah, exactly. And she basically tells him like, you could take all this shit from them. And so he basically gets like summoned to the Falcone like mansion or whatever, and he has fucking Victor drive him. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you think this is fucking great?" He's like, "Yeah, look at this shit. This is the shit we could have, right? Like there's all this fucking rich guy shit." And so he goes in there and he's like, "I just got to put on a show." So he goes in there. He's like, "I don't know what the fuck they want." And
that conversation is like, what did he tell him? He's like, "If I don't come back," he's like, "Wait, no, never mind. Don't. No, it's all gonna be good.
I'll come back. Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
And so he goes in there, and they basically they tell him, "Hey, man, like your shit's done. Like we're shutting the studio down, man.
Yeah, the factory
for the drops is getting shut down." And they're moving it out because there's too much heat or whatever. And he's like, "Oh man, we're doing so great. We're like the best fucking one." He's like, "This is my fucking operation, man. Like, come on, man. Like." And they're like, "No, you don't get a choice in this, motherfucker. Like, you just do what we say.
You work for the Falcone family, so like, what
are you gonna do?"
Yeah.
Like, so basically, he says,
"Know your role."
Yeah, and shut your mouth. Yeah, is essentially what they tell him. And so he essentially, basically agrees, and he's like, "Whatever." And
then Sophia comes in.
Yeah, Sophia comes in saying like, "Oh, did you ask him about my brother?" And they're like, "He'll be fucking fine." So they have this weird little exchange.
Yeah, she's fresh coming out of Arkham, so like she's rehabilitated, quote unquote.
Quote unquote.
Yeah.
From being what was referred to as the Hangman and just killing motherfuckers. And she is crazy. Like.
And she's already wise to his bullshit.
Yeah.
Already doesn't believe his alibi about not being there or not knowing his whereabouts of her brother. And then she invites him to dinner, and it was funny because he's like, "What do you mean right now?" He's like, and then so they end up going to dinner, and she's poking and prodding, trying to figure out what he's about. And he's like, that plan that my brother. That plan for the drugs you were talking about, like that, the only other person that he's mentioned that to was me. He's like, well, I guess he kept both of us in the dark. And then he's like, also, your brother's a drug addict. And because he was also kind of encouraging him during that scene.
Oh, yeah. He was like, just take the drops, man.
He's like, oh, alcohol doesn't count as fucking substance abuse, right?
And then he got him to do the drops because of that, man. That's crazy. And it just shows, like, the Penguin is Dude, dude, he's the AAA. He's a cerebral assassin, man. Like
Yeah.
he is fucking he's a genius.
Yeah.
And so they have this little like kind of back and forth. There was a very interesting thing that she had said about, oh, my father used to take us here when we fucking, when me and Alberto were kids, and he would pay us to keep our elbows off the table.
Yeah.
And he's like, who's telling you? No one's here to tell you to do shit now, basically.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, you're right. And they put their elbows on the table. That was fucking cool as shit. And then all the people around them like noticed that they put their elbows on the table and were like, in disgust. And it was just showing how like, yeah, they're criminals, right? They're the shitbags, but it doesn't matter. Money is money. And if you got the money, you can get in wherever you want to fucking get in at.
Yeah, and you can still command respect even though you could be deplorable with etiquette and all that shit. But I think at the end of that conversation, she kisses him. Oh, that was like, this is like Godfather within fucking like the Batman universe.
Yeah.
Because that to me was like his death warrant. He's like, I always knew you could be more Oz or whatever, and implying that she knows that he's capable of doing more and that he's very perceptive and intelligent, but he's like, don't get too fucking, don't let that shit get to your head because I know I'm onto you, motherfucker.
I'm onto you, yeah. And so then he decides that he's gonna fucking put this plan into motion where he's gonna go visit Salvatore Maroni, which is the rival. The Maroni crime family is the rival to the Falcone crime family.
But they've been dormant because they're not the
well, the head guy's been in jail. He's been in Blackgate.
Yeah, and also the ring. That was the thing. That was the thing you got from the cadaver of Alberto Falcone, is that he had the ring of Salvatore Maroni to basically as an FU to the Maroni family, that he owns them and that like they're the king. They're the kingpin of
Carmine
crime.
Falcone basically wore that ring around until his son had it, Alberto.
Yeah.
So he took it off of him. Penguin took it off of him. And so he says, here, man, listen, here's the fucking...
As an act of good faith.
Yeah, as good faith. Here's your fucking ring back. And again, Penguin being cerebral, knowing that he was going to wear this around and people would notice and the word would get back to them, thus putting the heat off of him that he killed fucking, that it was a Maroni crime family fucking assassin that killed Alberto or whatever. And setting it up so that he can be whatever. So he offers this deal to him of like, hey man, like, they're getting out of drops, all right? Like, I was their biggest fucking distributor basically, and like they're getting out, they're moving it out of town. We can take over this whole fucking thing if you guys would just fucking, go with me. And so originally tells him to fuck off, and then like he gives him the ring, and then he's kind of like, whatever. We'll see. So then
he also said he doesn't want to get in bed with people that are traitors.
Traitors, right. And which is, I mean, listen, man, that's smart. Like, God, that's the one thing when you're running a fucking criminal syndicate, right? You want to take out your enemy, but like, you can't trust a dude. And it's kind of like that same thing where people talk about, two people that let's say are married, right? And they get into a relationship with each other while they're married, and then they leave their spouses and then become married themselves. How could you ever trust that person? It's the same thing with this, right? How could you trust a guy who comes to you as a traitor initially? Oh yeah, you're going to take out your enemy, but then what? You're going to have this guy work for you who would what? Traitor you out to the highest bidder or whenever it's convenient?
At the very least, you could expect it from him, though.
Absolutely, that's true. You know where you're getting into, I guess. So, basically, Sophia Falcone basically has Penguin captured or taken, and fucking he's butt ass naked, man. Dude, I will say this, man. The fucking makeup that they did, like the body makeup and shit for him, for Colin Farrell, you have no fucking clue. I have no idea that this is Colin Farrell, other than the fact that I already know it's Colin Farrell. Yeah. If I didn't know who it was, I'd have no fucking clue it was him.
Yeah.
And they did a hell of a job with that.
Yeah, the fucked up feet he has, dude.
Dude, man.
That gives him the
limp
waddle.
Or whatever. Yeah, the waddle.
Yeah.
Which is why he gets called the Penguin, right? Like, that's fucking great. It's because of the waddle. So then we get him getting tortured, basically, and she brings in some dude who's one of the kids that fucking saw him putting the body into the thing or whatever that was stealing it. And he's like, no, of course that guy's lying. She's like, so you're telling me he's lying? And he's like, yes, he's a liar. Boom, she fucking kills this dude. And she's like, Oz, that's like the thing. Like, you always you would lie just to fucking kill an innocent person. Like, you don't give a fuck. And she's like, okay, whatever. We'll let it go for now. Like, I guess I don't have any other information on you. And so the whole incident is essentially, this was all put into play by fucking Penguin because Victor has the car that they took Alberto's body in, and he is essentially to drive it into the Falcone residence, and they left they essentially left the body there in the trunk, and there was a
like a message, like
there was like a
revenge or
message
something.
saying like, oh, whatever, like for fucking the Maroney family. Or
No, it just said revenge or
oh,
something.
revenge or payback. That's what it said. It said payback on the trunk. It was fucking sketched into the top of the trunk. It just said payback and or something like that. And so then, of course, Victor fucks up the whole thing. Like he was supposed to. I guess that happens technically in episode 2, but Victor technically fucked it up, and he gets they see him and they're like, "Hey, you son of a bitch, get back here!" And then he books it. And so then that was kind of how the...
Thanks for spoiling it, cocksucker.
What?
The second episode.
Oh, did that happen in the second episode?
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. But that's how the episode ends, right? With...
No, it ends with him doing the thing, but...
Yeah, he crashes the car into the thing, right?
He crashes the car, and then he did something with the cadaver with like the ring finger, because now it basically implies that the Maroney family got their ring back.
Yeah, because you see the ring fingers missing.
Yeah, and then...
That conversation happens in the second episode, you're right, about how he fucked it up.
Yeah, and then Penguin and Victor are talking, and they're like, all right, well, I guess we're in fucking business. Like, if we're gonna take over this fucking the crime of the city, you're the only ally I got.
Yeah.
And then they're like sitting,
because they get the suicides, right?
Yeah,
Like,
they're like-
it tastes better, right? Like, you know.
yeah, that shit was fucking
Because
great.
then he asked him about like, why couldn't you? Because we said we did the head. Well, didn't we agree on we would cut the head off?
Yeah,
And he's like, I couldn't do it, man. Like,
yeah, he's like, no, he's like, it's too much work. Because then he's like, I don't know, man, it's just fucking.
he's like, I started cutting, and then like, because Victor has like some sort of like speech impediment or like something like that.
I think it's just because he's threatened all the time.
He's just like, he
it's-
just brain freaks out, and
Yeah.
so then he's just like, I couldn't do it, man. So he's like, I just cut off the ring finger.
He's like, you did good enough. He's like,
He's like, good enough. He's like, yeah. And he's like, we got the suicides, and he's like, hey, you see, this tastes better, right? And he's like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. And then like that's how the episode ends, with them fucking sitting on the curb or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like fucking like drinking the things, and then that's how the episode ends. And all in all, yes, this was a super dense fucking episode, but it was great. And I will say, obviously, I've seen episode 2, but like so far, both these episodes are dense. And I like that. I enjoy a nice, meaty fucking episode to get into, especially in this instance where, like, we have the last iteration of the actual Penguin in live action was what? Batman Forever, Danny DeVito? Was that the last iteration of the
it's
Penguin?
not Batman Forever. Is it? No, it's Batman.
No, it's Batman
Returns.
Yeah, that's like the last live action iteration, I think, of the Penguin, right? Is Danny DeVito. I feel like that is.
It might be, yeah.
Prior to Colin Farrell because he's in the Batman movie as Penguin a little bit.
Yes.
But I feel like this is shit, man. If the Penguin series, it's obviously doing well and it's gonna progress. I kind of almost don't even want them to do a movie about the Penguin. I would like them to do just this show. Like this show, they're doing it well. Maybe I think this will lead into in the Batman series with Robert Pattinson. It's going to lead into them having their own movie where they fight each other or whatever. But I would like this storyline to play out further. And this is probably what the goal is. It's to get everybody caught up with like his backstory and how he became the Penguin. And then the movie of him being the Penguin will be like, it'll be like, oh, cool. Everybody knows his backstory. It's all caught up. He's going to fight Robert Pattinson as Batman.
I'm cool if they don't end up doing that for a movie, because I think what doing it in a television format does is that you have a vessel to go to different parts of Gotham and check in on kind of all the different aspects. Like I'm sure they're going to get like the Gotham police involved. So you see crime at a street level and also like on both sides of the law.
Yeah, it's like at the grand scale as well.
Yeah. And it's not concentrated on Batman itself. It's like it's the Penguin, right? And you know, he eventually does elevate himself to being one of the bigger villains in the Batman Rogues Gallery, right?
Right, yeah.
So, like, we'll get to that point where he interacts with a Joker and maybe Two-Face at some point, but it allows you to get tapped into Gotham in the crime world.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Like you said, on the street level.
Yeah.
And it also, while it's the Penguin coming from essentially being a street level criminal to that ultra tier, S tier level villain of being against Batman, essentially.
Yeah. I think the thing that maybe holds it back for me, actually, I have one more positive thing to say.
Yeah.
I like the thing that they're doing with Sophia teetering on being sane and also insane. Talking about Penguin trying to play a little bit of mind games that she's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And she reiterates that to him. She's like, am I fucking crazy or am I wise to what you're doing? Like, I love that. I think it's very cool.
Yeah, it is.
It is kind of a common stereotype that women can be fucking like crazy or whatever. Yeah. And I don't know. I think it kind of gives like it plays into that stereotype, but also it makes it interesting in like a different dimension, I suppose.
Yeah, and the woman who plays Sophia Falcone is like the perfect person to play this role, I feel like. And I read a thing that it was a spoiler-free thing or whatever, but it said essentially the headline was that I think it was in episode 4. Her performance in episode 4, people are saying that it's going to win her either like an Emmy or like a fucking like Oscar or whatever it is that's for like TV shows.
Yeah, Emmys.
It's going to win her a legitimate, like it was an Emmy award winning performance in that singular episode.
Yeah.
And I'm actually really fucking looking forward to getting to that because like I want to see what people are talking about.
Yeah, she always looks unhinged too.
Yeah,
like,
man.
She's got like
She's
big,
like one step
bug-eyed.
away.
Well, she's like bug-eyed, and she like whenever she looks at somebody, it's with 1,000-yard stare, or I don't know, man. It's interesting because I feel like it also implies that like Gotham makes you go a little fucking crazy because of how much shit goes. Yeah.
It does. Gotham always makes you go crazy.
Especially because her brother just died too. So,
yeah,
and also her father.
Well, she doesn't know that at the time. Like her father just died. Her brother's missing essentially.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know that he's dead yet until the end of the episode, and then she knows. But we don't get to see
somebody
that.
murdered him.
Yeah, we don't get to see that until episode 2. That's confirmed. Okay, she knows he's dead. Then episode 2, we get to see more. But what was the negative thing you had to say about it?
Oh, I don't care for the Victor character. I don't think somebody like that is timid or
not fully committed, right? Like he's not in all the way.
I need another character that was capable of committing crime and being threatened by the Penguin. That he's like, nah. Like I need somebody with a little bit more bravado, or whatever it is, a little bit more confidence. Because I think somebody getting bullied into doing that, I don't think they would like last long, and I don't think they would be capable of thinking. I don't think they'd be capable of thinking of the plan to save Penguin's ass while he's being interrogated. Well,
that was the thing. I think this plan was already instituted by the Penguin. This guy was just the guy to carry it out.
Yeah,
and I think as a person on that level of a person to carry out the plans. Victor's perfect for that. He's not an ideas guy. He's just a doer. You could tell him to do some shit, and he'll do it. Not exactly how you wanted it, but he'll get it done. He'll get it kind of done.
Yeah.
Right? And I kind of think it is a cool little thing that they're doing because, this guy's only there because he doesn't want the Penguin to kill him, right? This is like the only reason he's doing this shit. But at the same time, he is a street level criminal because he's a low level. He's a goon. A goon of stealing rims, right? And that's how he ends up meeting the Penguin. And for this guy to maybe, no one gave him a chance, right? Because he's got this stutter when he's threatened or whatever. So people probably thought he was retarded or I don't know, whatever, right? So he probably wasn't given a real chance. Like, he's just this low-level, street-level guy, as always what he would have been. But now that he's made essentially kind of like allies with the Penguin, he has the potential to be like, oh, maybe not number 2, but like maybe 4 or 5, like on the list of guys in the hierarchy of the Penguins organization, right? Because there's going to be guys that come around that, in terms of goons, that are going to be, there's going to be dudes that are more effective at being a number 2 or number 3. Victor has the potential to be like a 4 or 5 type of guy. Right now, he's number 2 because the Penguin ain't got nobody. He's got no one. He's got him, and that's it.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a parallel of what Penguin would have been starting out.
Yeah.
That everybody already discounted him
because of his limp. This kid has the stutter, so it's like Penguin is giving him a chance. Yeah, he sees himself in this kid and he's giving him a chance. So it's very interesting to see.
But it's just happenstance that he happened to be the person that
he tripped and fell and fucking ended up getting caught up by the Penguins.
Yeah.
So I have very high hopes for this series. It's fucking so far great.
Yeah, this episode 1 was like a home run for me. Sports entertain out of sports entertain.
Absolutely, 100% sports entertain out of sports entertain. I can't wait to fucking continue this further. This is going to be an excellent time. So anyways, you got anything else to add for this one? All right, so that'll do it for us on this episode. Stay tuned for episode number 2 of The Penguin, which we'll do next week. If you want to follow us on Instagram and TikTok, Game Rage Magazine. Like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube as well at Game Rage Magazine. Game Rage Mag on Twitter/X. You can follow Adam at All Gas No Trash Official. And check out the All Gas No Trash podcast. All right, that'll be it. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Oh, hey there, buddy. It's me, 1930s announcer guy, here to congratulate you on making it through this episode. As our heroes are getting in their jalopies and riding off into the literal sunset, they wanted me to tell you thanks for listening to their radio broadcast, and should you be so kind as to follow them on some fancy schmancy radio station publication called Instagram and TikTok at Game Range Magazine, and on some other thing called Twitter/X at Game Rage Mag. Also, they wanted me to inform you and ask if you could be so kind again as to visit something called a website at www.GameRageMagazine.com. I don't know what that is, buddy, but you should probably go do those things. And, don't forget to tune in next time to the Game Rage Movies and TV radio broadcast.